Hi everyone, my name is Jessie. My metric number is B06251037. And today I will be presenting the introduction of our project titled Most Performance Social Media for BTMM Semester 2. Nowadays, social media has become an important part of students' daily lives. Students use social media for communication, entertainment, learning, and information sharing. Different social media platforms provide different levels of engagement, interaction, and user satisfaction. Therefore, we would like to identify which social media platform perform the best among BTMM Semester 2 students. The four platforms selected are Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitter X. To collect the data, we distribute a Google Form survey to 40 respondents. The responses were then analyzed using a one population mean Z test to determine the most preferred and best performing social media platform among the students. Thank you. And I will now pass the presentation to the next presenter.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tizahan, and I'm from BTMM Section 2, Group 1. My matrix number is B0625100462, and I will be presenting the research objective of our study. The primary objective of this study is to determine whether the average amount of time spent on the selected social media platform by BTMM Semester 2 students exceed a predetermined benchmark value. Through this analysis, we can evaluate whether students spend significantly more time on the platform than expected, based on statistical evidence. In addition, this study aims to analyze the daily frequency of social media usage among BTMM Semester 2 students. The data collected will help us understand students' online behavior and the amount of time they dedicate to social media on a daily basis. Furthermore, this research seeks to identify the most frequently used social media platforms among students, including Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and X. By examining students' preference and usage patterns, we can gain a clearer understanding of which platforms are most popular within the BTMM Semester 2 community. The study will collect the data from 40 BTMM Semester 2 students through a Google Form survey. The responses will then be analyzed using a one population mean Z test to determine whether the average usage time is significantly different from the benchmark value established for this study. Finally, based on the findings, we aim to provide useful recommendations regarding the most effective social media platform for communication, information sharing, academic announcement, and student engagement among BTMM Semester 2 students. That concludes the research objective of our study. Thank you.
Hello, I am Muhammad Hidayat bin Latif and I'm from BTMM Section 2. My matrix number is B0625100469. Today, I am going to be explaining about the null hypothesis. The definition of null hypothesis is the null hypothesis is a statement about a population parameter that represents the status quo or the claim being tested. Mathematically, it always contains an equality sign of equal, less or equal, or more or equal. The null hypothesis that we have come up with is the students from BTMM section 2 spend less or equal to 4 hours per day on social media.
Assalamualaikum and hello. My name is Muhammad Umar Irfan bin Nur Hadi. My metric number is B062510401. My part is alternative hypothesis. The definition of alternative hypothesis is the claim we are trying to The other evidence for it represent a departure for the null hypothesis and is was the researcher hope to support. Importantly, hypothesis alternative never contain an equality sign. It's used less than, more than, or non-equal. Alternative hypothesis description is student from BTMM section 2 spend more than 4 hours per day on social media.
Hi everyone, good evening sir and all my fellow friends. My name is Song Shukai. My matrix number is B0625103113. And now I'm gonna share about why our school gonna use for our study, which means which types of hypothesis tests we're gonna use. Okay, so for now, as you can see, our school is using one population means that test. Why? Why is our school using this kind of what is it called? Use this kind of hypothesis test because it's suitable because first is focused on a single population, which is only the student in semester two. Yeah. So for the next is objective. The objective is to test the average time spent spent on social media. For the next, the sample size is kinda large, which is n equal to 14, which satisfies the requirement for using a z-test. So that's why we use the z-test because it's more than 40. It's more than 30. And the test compare the sample means with a non-rational value of 4 hours per day. So that's all from me. Thank you. I'm gonna pass to my teammate.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad Wafiq bin Anwar Saluddin. My matrix number is 06251040N. And for my topic, I will talk about test use and the reason. For our topic, we use one population mean, standard deviation unknown, large sample, that test for one mean. The reason why we use this test because we cannot get the standard deviation of whole university of UTEM. Instead, we use substitution with sample division of our class. The second reason is since our sample is larger than 30, we have a large sample, which means we need to use a Z test rather than T test. That's all for me. Thank you.
Hi everyone, today I wanna show the data and variable involved. For this session, I will share the data we collected and the variables involved in our analysis. So our sample size of the 40% respondent, the average social media usage among them is 3.21 hours per day. That means the sample standard deviation is 1.87 and the variance is 4.2, which show that there is some variation in usage across individual. So in the terms of demographic, we now have the 57.5% of the respondents are male and the female is the 42.5%. And based on this table, we know the Instagram is used by student is mostly. It was have 37.5% person to use the Instagram, and the second mostly person to used by student is the TikTok. It was 32.5% student to use the TikTok for the daily. And the Snapchat and Twitter is the same person to use by the student. It was 15% person to use it, the Snapchat and Twitter. So for the variables, the hypothesis population mean is 4 hours per day. The observed sample mean is 3.21 hours. The test statistic we use is the Z value, and the significant level is set at 0.05. They will let us know the decision rule is compare Z to critical value. So the slide highlight the foundation of our statistical test and the data we collected and the variable we are analyzing. In the next part is a calculation. So I will pass by my friend to present it. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Neojingyo. I'm from BTMU Session 2. My number measure is B062510390. So today in my section, I will present the overall calculation to calculate the one population mean details. So now let's move on. Before move on to the data, let's see what kind of a formula that we're using to calculate the average time spent of the student. For the first one is the midpoint formula. The midpoint formula is equal to lower bound, which is lower limit, plus the upper bound, which is upper limit, divided by 2. For the second is sample mean formula. The second mean formula is equal to the total of fx divided by the total of sample taken. The reason that we are using sample mean is used to determine the average number of hours that a student spend on the social media. For the third one is the sample variance, which is s squared is equal to the total of f bracket x minus means bracket the power of 2. The reason that we are using sample variance is to measure the spread of student social media usage around the average value. For the fourth is sample deviation formula. The sample standard deviation formula have two formula. The first one is s equal to the square root the total of f bracket s minus mean bracket power of 2 divided by n minus 1, or we can using s equal to square root s power of 2. For the last one, which is the formula of to calculate the one sample z-test is equal to mean minus hypothesis divided by the standard error, which is s divided by square root n. The reason that we are using one sample z-test formula is to determine the usage time spent on social media by the student differ significantly from the hypothesis value. So now is the data collection that we collect from the Google form. So we have categorized as a 4 class in the world. The first one is 0. We estimate 0 to 2 hours. The second is 2 hour to 4 hour. The third one is 4 hour to 5 hour. And the last is 5 hour to 6 hour. So in 0 to 2 hour, if it contains of 35% of the people, while for the second, which 2 to 4 hour, is contained 22.5% of people, while the third one is 4 to 5 hour is contain 15 percentage of the people, while the last one is 5 to 6 hour content of 27 to 5% of people. So 35% of people is equal to 14 people of 40 people. For the second, 22.5% is 9 people out of 40 people. For the third one is 15% is 6% out of 40 people. And the last one, which contain 27.5 percentage, is 11 people out of 40 people. So this is the midpoint that we find. As I mentioned earlier, the formula of midpoint is the lower bound plus the upper bounds, divide by 2. So now we get 1. For the second, we get 3. For the third one, we get 4.5 for the midpoint. And the last one, you get 5.5 for the midpoint. And now we calculate the fx. Fx is equal to the frequency times the midpoint. So the first one we got 14. The second we got 27 for 2 to 4 hours. The third we got also the 27 for the for 4 to 5 hours, and the last one which is 5 to 6 hours we got 60.5 fx for the fx. So in total we got 128.5. So for the second is the data category and the result. But first, as I mentioned earlier, this uh this Google form is conducted from the 55 people in BTMN. So we only got 40 respondents. So our sample size is 40 people. For the sample mean, we got 3.21. For the sample standard deviation, we got 1.87. And the sample variance, we got 3.5. This is my last session. In this session, I will show you how do we calculate the one sample of z-test by step. First of all, we need to identify all the elements of the equation, like the total of sample, which is n equal to 40, the mean, which is equal to 3.21. For the standard deviation, it is 1.7, and for the hypothesis, we got is 4 hour. Second, we sub all the elements that we got inside the equation. Therefore, we got z equal to 3.21 minus 4 divided by 1.87 divided by the square root of 40. Third, we calculate the numerators, which is the upper level, and the denominator at the lower level. So from the numerator, 3.21 minus 4, the value that we got is minus 0.79. For the denominator and known as the standard error, the value that we got is 0.296. After these two values divide together, the value that we got is z equal to negative 2.67. The alpha is equal to 0.05, which is from the confidence level for 95%. The critical value that we got is 1.64. For the z value, as I mentioned earlier, the is equal to negative 2.67. For the p-value is that we got is equal to 0.996. That's all from my part. Thank you.
Hi everyone. For the last part about our presentation is the decision and the interpretation. So for this part, I will present the decision and interpretation of our hypothesis test lah. We tested whether average social media usage is more than 4 hours per day. The null hypothesis is 4, and the alternative is more than 4 with a sample mean of 3.21 and standard deviation of 1.87, and the sample size is the 40 respondent lah. The z value is negative 2.67, and the significant level is 0.05. The critical value is 1.645. Since negative 2.67 is less than 1.645, we fail to reject the null hypothesis. That means the data does not support the claims that usage exceed 4 hours lah. In fact, the average of 3.21 hours show respondents spend significantly less time on social media. That's been usage is moderate rather than excessive lah. And right now, I wanted to do a conclusion about for this presentation is our test show actual usage is below the hypothesis rule or hypothesis value is confirming moderated enhancement in this sample. So our presentation is done and thank you everyone and goodbye.
My name is Dang Yi. My number metric is B06251041. So I would like to conclude this assignment. In conclusion, this study analyzed the social media usage patterns of 40 BTMM semester 2 students through a survey. The finding shows that Instagram is the most frequently used social media platform, followed by TikTok, while Snapchat and Twitter are used less frequently. The statistical analysis revealed that the average time spent on social media is less than 4 hours per day, which is below the benchmark value of 4 hours per day. Therefore, there is insufficient evidence to conclude that they spend more than 4 hours daily on social media. Overall, the results indicate that they have a moderate level of social media usage, with Instagram and TikTok being the preferred platforms for communications, entertainment, and information sharing. These platforms can be considered the most effective channels for reaching and engaging students.